in, everybody. I'm Bobby Burton, joined by Rod Babers. Rod's stepping in today. He's going to join me for a little bit, or I think he's actually going to join us for the whole show. Jerry's going to be about 15 minutes late. He's coming back from a volleyball tournament that he is at right now for a significant friend of a friend, so to speak. So long story short, we got a lot of stuff going on tonight. We're going to take your questions. We're sponsored this evening by Dr. Brett Robin over at Austin Orthopedic Institute. Rod will tell you a little bit more about Dr. Robin, his former teammate.
That's right.
Few minutes. But first, I want to say that we are doing a special deal tonight. We are going to be answering your questions as we do every Monday night on Talkin' Ball. But we usually take super chats, and super chats move to the front of the line. That pays the bills here around On Texas Football. But tonight we thought that we would do something a little different. All money raised, all donations put towards this super chat will go directly to the Central Texas Food Bank, or the Food Bank of Central Texas. We don't see a dime of it. It goes straight from YouTube directly to the Central Texas Food Bank. They're out there. That food bank is out there helping out folks in the Kerrville, Austin area as well right now with a lot of recovery efforts and whatnot. And it's a donation that we have decided to really try to sponsor. And if you guys want to, please feel free. It's not necessary to talk here tonight, but we are forgoing any and all super chats to donate our money tonight to that cause. Hopefully, there's a lot of people hurting around the state of Texas, and we're going to try to do whatever we can, I guess is the best way to put it, to assuage some of that hurt. All right, Rod Babers, got a lot of stuff going on in Texas football today. Braden Rouse, the linebacker out of Marietta Kell, we had said that he was on the verge of a decision. He announced today that he's going to be announcing tomorrow. Around 6 o'clock Central or 7 o'clock Central, he will announce between Texas and Tennessee. We do not know which way that's going to fall right now, but those are the two schools that he's been interested in the longest. Tennessee is thought to have been the leader at this point. So that's going on. We also have some other news and notes that are going on right now. Texas, CJ and I talked a little bit about some things we heard on the back end as it relates to some team news. We can talk about that. Really, it's whatever you want to talk about on Monday nights. It's Talkin' Ball. You guys have fun with it. Rod, you were on Winning Drive with Coach Shipley and CJ Vogel earlier today. Yeah. How did that go with those guys this afternoon?
Oh no, it was great. Actually, Matthew made an appearance. If you watched the show, you know how Matthew looks now. They thought he was some AI construct. Turns out, no, Matthew's the real thing. He's the real deal. No, it was great. We actually, a lot of the Longhorn fans, it's kind of a continued conversation, right? When you're talking about recruiting now, you know, Longhorn fans are anxious. We talked about this on Sunday night when it was revealed. One of the members of the On Texas football family in the chat revealed that Texas actually has a higher ranking this year, this year than they did this time last year. When they were on their way to the number one recruiting class. And yet there is way more anxiety from Longhorn fans. And I don't know, maybe it's just the changing landscape of college sports, because everybody's a little on edge because we just don't know what the future of college sports looks like. We just don't know how settlement, all that, the changing landscape of NIL, that could be have something to do with it. Maybe it's just that they're getting in some of these heavyweight recruiting battles now. It seems like there's more heavyweight recruiting battles, period. Just and I think that's good for Texas. It shows you've been in the Final Four the last couple of years. You've had double-digit players drafted the last 2 years. That's where you're supposed to be recruiting, against the heavyweights. Well, as my man Jeff Howe points out, yeah, when you step it up in a weight class, you're gonna take a couple of more L's. You're gonna take a couple more punches. And I think right now Texas taking some more punches, and they're getting hit just as much as they're landing some blows. And I think that's got Longhorn fans a little on edge. So I think all it'll take is momentum. I don't know if they've had true momentum yet in the class. Like you get a commitment, and Longhorn fans feel good, and then they want to build on it. Maybe you had a couple of weeks of it, but Longhorn fans want more sustained momentum. And the truth is, you may not get that. I do think you'll get a top class. Sark has proven that, and he is worthy of our trust at this point. Even his recruiting methodology whether, some people want him to pick Texas to spend more money and be the top dollar figure every time for every big time recruit. He's got his own method now, and it works. Whatever he's doing, it's working. So I do have a certain amount of trust that you'll get a good recruiting class. How you'll get there, and will they get your favorite players in it? That's a different conversation altogether.
I think that you hit on a couple of things that I haven't talked enough about previously. You said momentum has been hit or miss at times. I think that's a fair statement. I really do believe that, Rod. I mean, because there was a time where, and I said this, if this were this time a year ago, and Texas had all these guys lined up like they do, and there was no limit on NIL, and NIL was still the true Wild West, and there was no rev share. I think Texas might have the number one class in the country right now. I mean, because that is the level of reception.
Yeah.
Sarkisian and his coaches and the GMs and Brandon Harris, they were all receiving, right? They were receiving that level of feedback. What's happened is now NIL is becoming more rev share equitable. Texas has got some hands tied at times on certain recruitments and can't meet everybody at the level they want to be met at, et cetera. Not that they could ever really theoretically get everybody, but I think that that's happened. And to me, that's been a surprise. I thought that there might be something different there, but the reality of it is everybody is playing by not everybody, most teams are playing by the letter of the law on the House settlement. And that brings more money in general to college football recruiting across the board. It's not just Texas now. I mean, Texas was one of 10 schools, 15 schools that had a roster over 20 million last year, probably. Now, 60 teams have a roster of at least 15 million? That's a net positive, a net gain for the entire group of prospects that they can pick from. So things change a little bit. But we'll talk more about that. We'll take your questions. I'm looking at the total raised right now. As a reminder, we are raising money for the Central Texas Food Bank for victims and for the flood. Our people affected by the flood already raised $725 tonight. Thank you all so much on Texas.
God bless. That's amazing.
I asked my wife to put some money into this as well for On Texas Football. And I also want to say one more thing. Thank you to Matt Hutchison, our producer. Rod, you mentioned him a minute ago. He's the one that set all this up on the back end for us as well. So thank you very much, Matthew, for helping out. All right, we're going to start getting to questions now. But first, let's hear about Dr. Brett Robin over at Austin Orthopedic Institute, if you would, Rod.
No question about it. My former teammate. That's right. Trust me. And I can tell you, he was smart back then, and he's smarter now, wiser now. I didn't know he would become a doctor, but I knew he was going to be something special. So shout out to my man, Brett Robin, Dr. Brett Robin, by the way, for those out there. Special thanks to Dr. Brett Robin and the Austin Orthopedic Institute. Dr. Robin, a former Longhorn running back and my former teammate, knows what it takes to stay in the game. And he's here for athletes of all ages, no matter who you are. He specializes in musculoskeletal health. Dr. Robin treats joint pain and injuries with a conservative approach first, but also offers advanced surgical options, including arthroscopic procedures, fracture management, and total joint replacements if you need it. With convenient offices all over Georgetown and Killeen, also in Austin, Dr. Robin is accepting new patients right now. So if you're looking for a top-notch orthopedic specialist, give Dr. Robin a call at 512-856-1000. That's 512-856-1000, and get back to your active lifestyle and doing what you love. Thank you very much to Dr. Brett Robin and the Austin Orthopedic Institute.
There we go. I don't know that he ever had any big knee injuries. Did Brett ever have big knee injuries? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I don't recall him having a big time injury that's had him out for a long time, but I could be off. I mean, he's a running back, so he definitely had injuries.
Yeah. He definitely had some bruises.
I would call him having that. I mean, that's a good question, actually.
Yeah.
Have y'all had Brett Robin on? Have you had him on?
Yeah. We've had Brett on a couple times for whenever he talks about injuries to players.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
He understood Cedric Baxter's injury better than anybody possibly could. He talked about that at length. All right. Hey, Jerry Hamilton's in now from Hermosa Beach, California, out there following around volleyball.
UV index 10 plus today.
Hey, Jerry, we are currently up to $725 raised for the Central Texas Food Bank. Thank you to members on Texas Football watching the show right now. Jerry, I promised them that we would answer their questions, myself, you, as well as Rod.
Sure.
Let's get it going with this one from Christopher Galloway. Thanks, Matthew. I'm just curious about the backstory of Caden Finley's commitment to Notre Dame. We seem to be having some success in recruiting Texas this year. What are your thoughts? Thank you. Talk about a little bit about how Caden Finley's recruitment went down and the final factors there.
Yeah, look, I think Caden Finley likes Marcus Freeman was the difference maker there for Notre Dame. I'm not saying in the recruitment for Notre Dame, he was definitely a difference. Thanks by the way, for joining on Texas Football and asking us a question. Marcus Freeman is doing quite well in Notre Dame in Texas this year, and I think the guy's tremendous. I think he's going to be a real threat in college football as long as he's in it. But Caden Finley, look, I think Marcus Freeman did a great job with Caden, his mom, and Jermichael Finley throughout the process. And as you know, as a Notre Dame fan, they've done a great job with former NFL players' kids in this cycle in general. But they look, whether it be Jaden Greathouse helping that as well, being from Austin Westlake, having success at Notre Dame. I think Caden Finley, when he looked at schools, if there was a school outside of the state of Texas that was going to be the one that could compete with Texas, it was Notre Dame for Caden Finley. And I think Marcus Freeman was the difference in why that was for the out-of-state schools.
Along with Jermichael Finley's son, Caden Finley, there's also Larry Fitzgerald's son and Jerome Bettis' son in that Notre Dame class. So they're going on the legacies big. I will say this, Notre Dame had a larger NIL offer out to Caden Finley than Texas as well, and that certainly played a role. But we'll see how that goes from here. All right, next up, Shivam Patel. Bobby, do you think we land another OL even after the turn time commitment? Jerry and I have talked about this a lot. Jerry and I think that they definitely will. They want 4 to 5 in this class. They're already at 3 with John Turntine, Nick Robertson, and Max Wright. All 3 of those guys fairly heavily recruited. Turntine in particular, highly recruited. I think they're going to look at Malachi Lee. Jerry mentioned this ad infinitum. That's a young man out of Kamehameha High School in Honolulu, Hawaii. He committed to Michigan, but Jerry and I think other people agree, Sharon Moore, the head coach at Michigan, it's put up or shut up time for him because he did not have a great year last year. They went out and spent $10+ million on a quarterback for him. It's time for him to make do. And if I don't know that they're going to have a great team this year. So we'll see what that does with the guy behind it. Jerry, any other thoughts on this? Like the Wright and Robertson are thought to be inside guys, although Wright's a tackle guard.
Yeah, he's a swing player.
Yeah. So do you think they're going to go after a tackle guard? What's left in that way? I guess Lee's a tackle, so probably tackle.
It's a tackle. Texas wants at least one more tackle in this class. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think, look, coaching carousel, like you just mentioned, what happens at Michigan. You're not saying Sharon Moore's going to be fired, but the season, how it goes, that sort of thing. How the seasons go for some people. Is there any coaching movement? I don't know if I see a senior riser on the offensive line necessarily. I think it would be guys who Texas had already targeted, and maybe they get back in on or flip one guy, maybe get back in on a second guy. I'm not sure I see that senior riser scenario out there with the offensive line. That's not really the way Texas offensive line recruiting's gone. I think they'll stay on a couple of those guys that they really like that committed elsewhere, obviously with Malachi Lee being number 1, but at least one more tackle.
All right.
Somebody asked about Utu. Texas really likes Utu, committed to Alabama. He has the same agent as Brandon Baker, so we'll see if anything happens there long term.
All right, we're going to go here next to Christine Anderson. As a lifelong coastal dweller that got yanked out of Harvey floodwaters via some kind hearts, wow. In fishing boats, finally getting to pay it for, wow, that just sent chills up my spine a little bit. Christine, thank you for being around and hanging out with us. You've been, we've seen your name in the chat quite a bit through the last year and a half. Appreciate you and glad you're here with us. I want to say this about those floodwaters. The owner of Camp Mystic graduated from University of Texas. I just read about a young lady that was a camp counselor. The owner of Camp Mystic died, by the way, if you missed that. And then I read about a young lady that just graduated high school. She was gone and had been a counselor at Camp Mystic. She was also expected to attend the University of Texas in August.
She went to Kincaid, right?
Yeah, she went to Kincaid. I mean, so look, this is affecting everybody. As I grew up on the coast as well, down near in Houston, near Galveston, that side of the city. And I remember hurricane after hurricane. I mean, people have had tornadoes across West Texas, even up in Dallas. It's just all kinds of bad weather at times. And I love the fact that Texas tried to come together. We are now at $989 raised for the Central Texas Food Bank. Thank you all so much. The biggest donation to date comes from this person. Carlos Carrion donated $250.
Wow.
So thank you very much, Carlos. Who will UT continue to recruit on the OL and DL? We answered that on the OL, Jerry. So let's take the DL for Carlos. And then how many linebackers do you think they end up with in this 2026 class? So OL, DL, you already mentioned OL. Let's do DL, and then let's talk linebackers, if you will.
DL, Texas will stay on Jamion Winfield, committed to USC. I think he may be the best of all of them. Texas has been recruiting. I think he's really, really talented, so versatile, such high upside. Kendall Graville, James Johnson probably is similar. Texas will stay in contact there, see what kind of transpires. I think Texas has 3 really good ones. They would go up to 5 if it was the correct 5, but more than likely it ends up being 4. On linebacker, Texas needs to sign 3. They have Kosi Okpala, who we have as a 4-star plus. We think he's underrated nationally by most people in our industry. Really good player. Braden Rouse, going to announce tomorrow. As of early this afternoon, Rouse had not made a decision, which was interesting that he has his announcement date out there tomorrow on the 8th. But look, it could have changed in 3 hours ago, but 3 hours ago, he didn't have made a decision yet. So we'll see, or he's got some confusion in that decision. Let's say that. Tennessee's had the longest relationship with his family. So Texas still has to overcome that, even if Braden I think Braden probably sees himself as a fit at Texas, just meeting the kid once, doing research on him. But can they overcome that long-standing relationship with the family around Braden Rouse? But that's what Tennessee has going for him. Then we'll see what Tyler Atkinson does coming up whenever he makes his decision. Georgia's been considered the favorite, but Texas and Oregon making it a real fight. Texas maybe more so than Oregon, and Clemson's kind of the 4th school on the peripheral. But Texas needs to sign 3. They want to sign 3. It just does need to be a 3 class. If not, then they'll have to go back portal.
Basically, thought process there might be also Calvin Thomas, young man out of the Houston area.
Yeah.
A possibility they brought in for an official visit as well. We thought he was going somewhere else, but never know these days.
Nebraska's the lean headed into at the start of this week.
Yep. And I think North Carolina was trying to give a go as well as SMU. We'll see where Texas ends up with just forgot his name.
Calvin Thomas.
I'm sorry, guys. Going on to the next question for you guys in talking about this right now. I'm looking at a question here on Jamarian Carlton from Aggressively Optimistic Texas Fan. Thoughts on Jamarian Carlton and how the recruitment looks right now with Tech and Baylor pushing hard. Jerry and Rod, I want to ask you this, Rod. You followed the Felix Ojo, and we'll come back to Jamarian Carlton for Jerry. The Felix Ojo recruitment apparently was done well before, like a month before, when he announced his decision. Yet he went on and took a bunch of official visits anyways. Okay. What do you think about that? As a former player, as someone who's been a recruit, do you think that he should have just come clean? Or, what do you think that of that? Because it's a hard one for me because it's life-changing money for the young man. I just don't think he should have misled people on the way to the altar.
I can justify, and it is shady. That is shady to commit and say, if it's already done, the deal was done, and you weren't changing your mind. it is a little shady to keep those other teams, kind of basically,
I think it could have cost Texas another offensive lineman.
Yeah, exactly. Right. To mislead, basically, you're misleading those teams. Now, if he was doing it to negotiate and doing it for leverage, it's still shady, but I kind of understand. That's just business. He's trying to up his value, increase his leverage in the negotiation or whatever it is. But if the deal was already done and signed, sealed, and delivered, and you weren't changing your mind, listen, I'm old school. My dad made me call and talk to a lot of the coaches when I decided to eliminate them from my final 5 schools. When I eliminated schools, he made me call them, talk to them, tell them. So I still believe, that's a tough thing to do, to reject somebody like that. I think it would have been the right thing for him to step up in that situation. If you're going to take the visit, I know you probably want to have some fun on the visit, and you want to be wooed, and you want the red carpet treatment, which I also kind of get. On the trip, you probably should have told the coaches on the trip. On that trip, like, hey, just so you know, I'm going to Tech. It ain't happening. They still would have been pissed that you misled them and then took advantage of their hospitality and all that kind of stuff. But at least you had the man-to-man moment where you said, hey, just so you know, between me and you, I'm not coming here. So you guys need to do whatever y'all got to do. And that never happened. If he never had that conversation.
That never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's dishonest. That's a dishonest thing to do. That's bad.
Yeah. He had told both Texas and Ohio State that he was down to Texas and Ohio State the day before.
Yeah,
is what I was told. So that's just not. That's where it is. Is Jamari and Carlton doing the same thing, Jerry? I think that's what Texas fans are worried about. Should we be worried about that, or do we just not know and we're going to have to wait and find out on July 10th?
I don't have a great feel for that one on Monday, July 7th. We'll see. Look, if he goes to Tech, I think it's similar. It was done, but way in advance, and this has just been part of it. If it's not Tech, Texas had felt pretty good about that one coming out of that OV, but that was a long time since June 6th through 8th that a lot's transpired since then. And he made that visit to after he canceled A&M on the 13th, he did make the Baylor visit on the 20th. And obviously Baylor, that's as much as they can be all in, that's an all-in recruitment for Baylor. An edge player. We has a 4-star plus. I'm not sure he's a top 30 player in America like some people have him ranked. I think he's closer to 125, 150, 175 in that range, but really good prospect. That's a big one for Baylor in their backyard, and they have got guys from their backyard this year. London Smith at University, Jamarian Vincent from Waco College. They've won some of those local battles, and this is the biggest one for Baylor in that class.
Fellas, we are now up over $2,000 raised.
Wow, that's amazing.
Whoa.
That's great. Thank y'all so much for being a part of this and doing this. Here's a note from James Follett. I'm from California, and we had the fires earlier this year. Jerry, you took us you're in California. You actually showed us some of those videos via text message yesterday. We all had to come together and take care of each other. Beautiful to see it happening in Texas now, too.
I got to tell you, James, I'm in at a beach volleyball tournament this week, and I was in Malibu yesterday. I just wanted to go see what it looked like. And I've been up there plenty of times over the years. It was unbelievable to see the houses that are just gone for miles along Malibu Beach. I mean, it was crazy to see a Porsche that was just charred and the house is gone. It was – that whole scene was crazy to see yesterday, and I can't imagine what people went through. I mean, I think Temecula Canyon, so that road's not even open yet. I mean, they just opened Pacific Coast Highway up there in parts, but it was wild to see. And I got to tell you, I mean, the palm tree, how those things live is one of the craziest things you'll see. Like the palm tree is charred from the bottom to the top, and then it has his green leaves. He's just like chilling. He's just chilling, having a good day. And I'm like, dude, the rest of you's like burned up, but he's still green up top, hanging out.
That's symbolism right there, man. I like that.
Yeah, that is symbolism. Good point there. Champ Bailey says, Bobby, is it safe to say Texas needs to get its money up in NIL? Yes, they do. Absolutely, in my opinion. Now, I'm not talking about offers they make to players. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about their NIL pool needs to be increased. through legitimate ways, third-party revenue. There is a possibility that happens. Chris Del Conte, effectively, that is now one of the athletic director's jobs, by the way. It's no longer, I'm just going to manage and get the best coaches. He's got to go out and find the most money he can for athletes as well. That's why he started a new division at the University of Texas under Learfield.
Yes.
To help do that.
Yep.
But the proof will be in the pudding. Can Texas generate that kind of revenue? Because it's going to be important. I really do believe that, because Texas should theoretically have some advantages. Let's put it that way. Because Austin's the largest city in the country without one of the top 4 major sports teams. So they are the Texas football team is essentially the pro sports franchise of the city. And there's a lot of blue chip companies that live in Austin, and call Austin home as well. So hopefully Chris Del Conte is able to make those connections and get that going. Thank you, Champ Bailey, for the question. Jose Rodriguez, can Texas afford to lose out on 5 stars this season? What's a good amount of blue chip recruits to aim for per cycle? Now, Jerry, not according to us, but according to the industry, I think Texas currently has 3 5-star commitments. Diabell, the quarterback, Richard Wesley, the defensive end out of California, and Jermaine Bishop, the athlete out of Willis, Texas, really offense or defense. Reminds me of a young Rod Babers, by the way. Better hands, though, than Rod. But I want to add this. You also have John Turntine as a 5-star, Jerry.
Oh, yeah.
So what is a good number? I mean, Alabama's at 5 right now.
Well, yeah. So I'm not as look, I get the whole 5-star thing. I get it because it matters in your class ranking, but I'm more about how many top 150 to 200 guys you have in a class. That is that's your depth of class. That's how you build a number 1 class. Yeah, you have to have 4 or 5 5-stars in a class, but it's that depth you build behind the 5 stars that really makes the class. And look, I think Texas, they need to win a couple more of those. Get one back, flip somebody, maybe coaching change, a couple more guys senior year, which they did in the last class. I mean, look, Cade Phillips flipped back from LSU to Texas. Grayson Littleton backed out of his Clemson commitment, ended up picking Texas over Michigan. Justice Terry, Zealous Hicks, who whenever these guys reclass, they could underrank. Zealous Hicks was a top 150 level prospect in the country in any class. So that was another one. So Texas is going to have some work to do in that regard for me to build the depth of class. But if you're just talking about 5 stars, you need 3 or 4 in a class. I mean, if you want to be one of the upper echelons and have a chance to be a top 3 level class, you really need to be at 3 or 4 5s.
Okay. This one from Matthew. Do you think this level playing field, in quotes, of NIL is overall good for the sport? Is it?
Only if it's policed.
Good question.
Here's what I would say, and then I'll ask Rod and Jerry to comment on this. I think it's overall good, but I think that, I think it's good because I think there's more money into the sport and more players are going to, this is the bottom line, but I'm not a big believer in there being just a straight cap. I mean, Texas, no offense to everybody else, but Texas revenue is $330 million a year. Mm-hmm. Should they really, in all seriousness, have the same cap as a team that has, I don't know, 80 million in revenue per year? Because that's functionally what they're doing. And so I think that there's a level playing field there at some level, but I don't think if you go to the University of Texas, I think you should get paid more. I'll just put it blunt. If you play for the New York Yankees, you get paid more. If you play for the Los Angeles Dodgers, you get paid a little more. It's not a bad thing sometimes. What do y'all think, guys?
Well, is it good for the sport? This is only rev share is only good if it's policed. Like if your rev share is one thing, but if you go back to the old recruiting where, all right, well, maybe we can put 300,000 of rev share to this guy, but we got to come up with another 500. Well, how are you doing that? That's where it gets sticky for me. Is it, I jokingly always say, because there was a kid in the early 2000s, dad owns a roofing company, gets 30 new jobs or 10 commercial jobs, and suddenly you're out on that recruitment if you aren't the one. So our recruitment's going back to that. I jokingly call it car, house. I mean, are we going back to that? If we go back to that and it's not policed, then nothing's changed other than, okay, actually you're just starting with a pot every year. And then you just get to add to it whatever you want, whatever you can. But now what Bobby said this morning is the key. The NCAA never had subpoena power. So whenever they wanted to go after school, everybody's like, well, they'll just give Louisiana Monroe a slap on the wrist because they won't go crush school X. Well, they didn't have subpoena power. So what could they really do a lot of times? Now there is subpoena power. The enforcement is going to tell the story, in my opinion. And Deloitte and then the enforcement will tell the story.
Yeah, I agree. I think ultimately, I think it's good because we're getting closer to inevitability, which is almost a pro model. And I think people are still kind of fighting that, but feels like that's where we're going, because I feel like collective bargaining is going to happen at one point down the line.
Yeah.
The next phase on the, between the whoever's representing the players as a whole, and then whoever representing, the power schools, or whoever considers themselves to be the entity that represents major college sports. But I'm enjoying, if this is indeed, the House settlement, this is the new landscape of college football and the new world order, just how different all the different methodologies are going to be. And we're already seeing it, right? USC's got something they doing out there, which may be, we don't think the House settlement we don't think it's going to last, right? So we don't really give a damn about it. Maybe that's their theory. Maybe the theory with Oklahoma, they're like, hey, you know what? We got to find value because we don't have sugar daddies. We don't got that much money to go dollar for dollar with all the blue blood. So we got to find value where we can. So you got Jim Nagy out there saying, hey, if you're in our system and you're a 3-star and a 5-star and you got the same rating in our system, we're going to take the 3-star. He's saying that publicly. Like, usually that's the quiet part. He's saying that out loud. So I do think it's and even Texas, right? Texas has their own methodology here. Longhorn fans, not all of them agree with it. They got a method that they feel like, hey, you know what? We're not going to lead with the money. We're gonna really promote the added value of being at Texas, the education, the city, all those things. Yes, you'll get competitive, NIL, but we also want people to understand that Texas has a lot to offer other than just the money, because he believes bringing in the right guys, you got to bring them in guys who have the right priorities and guys who want the top dollar figure. That's not compatible with the culture of Texas. So I think that's fascinating. That I don't know how it's all going to play out, but everybody can't play the same game because everybody doesn't have the same resources.
Well, right, Bobby, here's the thing. Now, we're on Texas football. Now, Jeff Howe and I, we do a lot on Texas basketball shows as well, and I cover basketball. What's so interesting about all of this is, obviously, we talk 90% about football. But here's where this stuff gets really interesting to me. From a basketball perspective, if you're a non-playing football school, you have a massive advantage in basketball now.
Mm-hmm.
Like Grand Canyon University has assembled a team that can roll up against almost anybody next year. And it's been with like 3 international products, a couple of guys, because they don't play football. So if they opted in the ref share and don't play football, suddenly some of those schools now, they can put together a basketball roster that can compete at the Sweet 16 Elite 8 level. So we talk about football, but I'm interested to see some of the other sports, the schools that don't play football, what that's going to look like for them in future years and the other sports.
Let me ask you this. Think about basketball at Connecticut.
Yeah.
They
not gonna put much in
football and they opted in, but I can guarantee you, Ariema in women's basketball may be getting more money than Don Staley at South Carolina right now for his women's basketball team.
Yeah.
How's that going to affect Don Staley wanting to stay at South Carolina?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I think it'll affect coaching moves in that sport as well. And I think it was one of the shortcomings of the House settlement that we talked about when it was going on. Matthew, thank you for your donation. Thank you for the question as well. If you're just now joining us, we're raising money today for the Central Texas Food Bank, which is out there helping first responders and folks in the Central Texas area right now that have been affected by these floodwaters. that have just ravaged parts of Texas, especially in the hill country. We've raised $2,279 tonight, guys. Thank you all so much, and ladies. Thank you all very much. We're going to keep going here and try to get all these questions in as much as you can. Lock and Horn said, God bless Texas and all our friends who have been impacted. Champ Bailey says, Jerry, give me your gut on Rouse, Braden Rouse. What are you thinking right now? Less than 24 hours from the decision.
I think he's going to UT.
Ron
missed the punchline.
Oh, I missed the inside joke. Right?
Texas or Tennessee? Texas or Tennessee? Now, look, as of 3 hours, he didn't know. 3 hours ago, he didn't know what he was going to do. So it's hard for me to even have a spot on this one. Look, you still have Texas still has to overcome the family connects for a long time to Tennessee staff with the parents. So that's the hardest thing Texas has to overcome. But I will say this, the fact that it's still in the balance is a pretty good sign for Texas. But I'll also say this, I'm not sure this recruitment's over if he commits to Texas or Tennessee. I think this one's going to December. There's too much of a decision right now when you're making a decision on July 8th for this to be over.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Colby TS, does that mean that Ojo's NIL deal won't count against Tech's revenue share? No, it will count against their revenue share. Colby, it won't if something changes with the House settlement, but as of right now, it will because it happened post-House settlement. Justin Yarbrough, is it me or does it seem that relationships have taken a backseat to NIL more so this season than in the past? Or is it the amount we were able to spend? I think Texas could match everybody more easily before and not worry about a cap. And so then it did come down to relationships. I've always said this, and Rod, you've dealt with these negotiations for yourself. Everybody's money is the same color. It's green. Okay. And so if somebody is offering somebody 1.2 million versus 800,000, well, there's a difference in the money, and somebody's a lot more green, right? But if both people are at 1.2 or 1.2 and 1.1 or something like, something that's reasonable facsimile, then it really does come down to relationships. It's why Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay instead of, the Raiders or something back, right? Relationships do matter. The money has to be similar. That's my opinion, Justin.
Yeah, it's got to be close. Otherwise, it's a bad business decision.
It is.
And these guys are making business decisions. And no agent or representative, and these guys they're not called agents, but since they're representatives, they're essentially are agents in another walk of life, right? And they are professional agents, and they're advising them professionally saying, listen, if it's like you said, Bobby, if it's a $500,000 difference, then there is no debate here. There's no discussion. You have to take the $500,000. But yeah, there's a, $20,000, $30,000 difference, $40,000. Like Uncle Sam's going to take that. You should make the right decision that you think is best for you. So I totally get it. And Texas should be competitive in everything. That, unless what Tech is doing is different. And Cody Campbell, what he's doing may be different because that's another experiment we're also seeing now with the new landscape of college sports. Even he's making everybody blink. Cody Campbell's and Texas Tech is making everybody blink when it comes to NIL. Like I don't think we've ever seen it's obviously hadn't been around that long, but we haven't seen anybody. Maybe that Miami guy. Remember the shady Miami guy?
Nevin Shapiro.
Yeah, there you go.
But here's the great thing about Cody Campbell. Look, I give the guy credit. We have some fun. I call him Brad Wesley from Roadhouse because kind of what it is. But he's out on Twitter today talking. I give him credit. He's out there. He ain't hiding. He's like, I ain't going anywhere, bub. I like it. So you're like, all right. You got to give guys credit for that. You tip your cap. One thing, just to follow up to the linebacker, is it an either or scenario for Rouse Atkinson? Absolutely not. That's not. If Rouse were to commit to Texas tomorrow, and I'm not saying it's the if game, that doesn't mean Texas doesn't want Atkinson. Those two guys are not the same. What happened earlier in these recruitments is I was just flat out told Xavier Griffin and Atkinson wouldn't go to the same school. And that had nothing to do with NL. They just weren't going to the same school. So this scenario is not like that. If Rouse up and committed to Texas tomorrow, Texas would still want Tyler Atkinson.
All right. Here's a question from Derek Best. How much do you think Texas will put towards each recruiting class each year under the new NIL? I was talking to a Power 4 general manager, not Texas, over the weekend. He said he was going to put 85% towards players on the field and 15% towards recruiting. Now, that 85% includes portal. It does not include recruiting. So of the funds, that's what they're looking at from their recruiting class. I would go a step further, though, and say this. I think it's going to be you're going to have amounts by position.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to have to prioritize certain players. And I'll say this as it relates to wide receivers this year. Texas has Ryan Wing, theoretically for 2026, Ryan Wingo coming back, Emmett Mosley, Parker Livingstone, the 3 they signed this year, as well as possibly DeAndre Moore coming back for another year. Okay. Is all the money taken up for wide receiver or a lot of it? Probably so for right now. Is that why they're underneath? Texas is underneath for Jalen Lott and Caden Finley? Probably so. Okay, that has a direct impact. You can't say, okay, I'm going to go get this guy and then let Ryan Wingo walk off the door. Or if DeAndre Moore wants to come back, a young man that's proven what he's done, you got, there's a level there. So Derek, there's a give and take that I think is recruiting class oriented and then position oriented within the recruiting class also. So for example, if I'm assuming that Anthony Hill is going pro this year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's the assumption. I'm imagining Anthony Hill does pretty well in NIL. So Texas has probably got some money available for linebackers, right? So we'll see what that means. All right, Joseph Curtis, Jerry, Bobby, what do you think about OU's AD leaving? Rod, I don't know if you saw this, but Joe Castiglione, longtime Oklahoma AD, announced earlier today that he was moving on and retiring. He is done for his career, long storied career at OU. Pretty good guy up there in Norman. Oversaw a lot of success, but he is moving on. We'll see what that means for OU's athletic department. Y'all have any thoughts on that? Either one?
He's 67 years old, so it's not like he's a young guy. I mean, he's 67. He's done great work in his career, and guy's originally from Fort Lauderdale. I'm hoping he just bought a house on the water and is moving down there and retiring.
Not living in Norman.
He's going
to retirement. You don't move to Lake Norman for your retirement. Yeah.
No. He's going to be a consultant, though. I really am interested to see who they'll get to replace him. I mean, they'll say a lot about the perception of Oklahoma's athletic department, football program right now, which is considering the standard of Oklahoma is down right now.
Thought also, I want to say this. While Texas and Oklahoma are mortal rivals, I mean, we all know that, right? Joe Castiglione and Chris Del Conte are great friends, and so they go when we would go to SEC media days or SEC spring meetings. Chris Del Conte and Joe Castiglione are out walking around the property together at 5:30 in the morning.
Wow,
6 o'clock in the morning. They're getting their workout in. They're good friends, and so I know Chris probably. As much as they are enemies in some ways, they were friends off the field.
You got to say, I mean, look, I don't know if there's a Hall of Fame for guys like this, but he'll be in it. I mean, no matter how much you hate Oklahoma, you have to tip your cap to him. The guy he was the AD under 25 national championships at Oklahoma. That's a big number, man.
Half of them in softball, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, softball, women's and men's gymnastics obviously took up a lot of them. Then football in 2000, men's golf in 2017. But there's a couple of Final Fours in there in basketball, more than Texas has been to. So, I mean, the guy did an unbelievable job. I'm sure a few College World Series in baseball as well. A lot of great things under his watch at Oklahoma.
My favorite stat about Joe Castiglione, his time as the Oklahoma AD and the Missouri AD, I believe it was, 32 of his employees went on to become ADs and commissioners. 32 of them. That's a hell of a tree right there. That's an administrative tree, like a coaching tree.
All right, we're going to keep answering questions as long as we can tonight. What snacks do you have behind the counter?
Well, somebody was making fun of this. These are the the pork rinds. When you're on the road, you gotta have pork rinds. So no mayo on pork rinds.
Pork rinds.
These are what you take to the beach for a beach volleyball tournament, right? I mean,
oh man,
pork rinds.
Rod, want to say thanks again to everybody out there. We got several more questions we're going to get to in this fundraiser night for Central Texas Food Bank. We've already raised over $2,600 for them. Also want to say thank you to our sponsor of this evening. That sponsor is Dr. Brett Robin over at Austin Orthopedic Institute. Rod, will you do the honors and talk a little bit about Dr. Brett Robin?
My former teammate, Dr. Brett Robin, by the way, lifetime Longhorn, who knows what it takes to stay in the game. And because of his obviously great knowledge there at the Austin Orthopedic Institute, he can help you stay in the game. And he's here for athletes of all ages, no matter who you are, no matter what you're dealing with, specializing in musculoskeletal health. Dr. Brett Robin treats joint pain and injuries with a conservative approach first, but also offers advanced surgical options, including arthroscopic procedures, fracture management, and total joint replacements. With convenient offices in Austin, Georgetown, and Killeen, Dr. Robin is accepting new patients right now. So if you're looking for a top-notch orthopedic specialist, give Dr. Robin a call, 512-856-1000. That's 512-856-1000. And thank you very much to Dr. Brett Robin for sponsoring Talkin' Ball and also being a part of the On Texas football family. So get back to your active lifestyle and doing what you love with Dr. Brett Robin and the Austin Orthopedic Institute.
I want to say thank you to James Follett for that. I will put that in the put that on my list. By the way, guys, this is not just I'm doing a lot of stuff here, which is cool, but I'm also going to go watch Richard Wesley work out this week while I'm here. That's going to be later this week. So I'm going to get some work done for you guys on the football front. Go see the 4-star plus, 5-star, whatever you want to call him, defensive end edge prospect. I'm going to go watch his workout later this week. Get you guys a nice 8-10 minute video interview with him for the YouTube channel. So y'all get to learn more about Richard Wesley while I'm down here as well.
Nice.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it. Matty M., God bless all the unfortunate families affected by the floods. The parents of one of my daughter's friends are currently missing. Matty, sorry about that, man. I hope your daughter takes solace in the fact that people are looking out there for them right now. It's something that we all got to worry about and just hope and pray things turn out okay. Chris, do you see any comparisons between Cohen Brown and Jackson Smith-Njigba? Thank you again for what you guys do. Both from the Metroplex, Jerry, bigger receivers that have some body to them, but also have some speed and great hands. What do you think of that comparison? Is Njigba a little bit bigger than Cohen Brown?
I think he's a little bit bigger frame. We'll see. I mean, he was 6 foot and 5'8", 7'8", I think it was at the NFL Combine, about 196 pounds. He's right around that 200-pound area. Ran 4.52. So Smith-Njigba, it wasn't his out speed. Now he ran 3.93 shuttle. It was his COD. It was his change of direction. Was elite. 6.573 cone. So, but Cohen Brown, and people will say this, well, Jackson Smith-Njigba's who you want, not DeAndre Moore is getting some projections as a first, second round NFL draft pick after this year. I see a little bit more DeAndre Moore in his build, in his frame, but I could be mistaken. And his everyday. Rod, I think you were part of the Cohen Brown interview, right? When he was on this channel.
Yeah.
I mean, that was as impressive as they come. Like you walked away from there, Rod. I hadn't even asked you. You walked away from there saying, I'm not worried about that guy maximizing his talent.
Just mature. Yeah.
That's what DeAndre Moore is.
Yep. Feels like a professional almost, the way their approach to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Hey, this is what I love about the On Texas football family. We were talking earlier, Brett Robin, has he had any injuries, et cetera? I just got this note. Brett Robin tore his knee ligaments in the 1996 state title game.
Oh,
Sophomore.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize he had that in high school.
That's what I love about. I get text during the middle of it saying, "Hey, Bobby, this is the answer to your question." We get some in the morning from Carl Padilla as well. It's kind of fun.
Legit. Yeah. Okay, thank you for that.
Dr. Robin, he knows what an ACL looks like. I'll put it that way. Hey, Kurt Burnett has a good one. What happens if a team defaults on the promised NIL amount? Well, Florida is currently getting sued, I think, by Jaden Rashada, a former player that signed with them or was going to sign with them originally. Mm-hmm. I don't know that they're actually, by NCAA rules, there are any repercussions, but there could be from third parties and from lawsuits.
Yep.
But I don't think it breaks NCAA rules to default on amounts owed or promised amounts. Yeah. Like part of this apparently with Cody Campbell is, if it goes back to the Wild West, Felix Ojo, we'll up your amount to this amount.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, that's going to be an interesting one. Hey, Jerry, Chris Bennett wants you and Richard Wesley to jump in a pool.
That's a good idea, Chris Bennett.
That'd be awesome. That'd be a great troll job right there, Jay. You love the troll.
That is a hell of an idea.
That would be
but I can tell nobody wants to see me jump shirtless, so there will be a shirt on.
Yeah, you got to wear the rash guard, Jerry.
Nobody wants that. Wesley will decommit if I jump in a pool without a shirt on. He'll be like, "Yeah, Dan Lanning wasn't so bad after all."
Michael Dye, hi Rod. On the player's signature by your jersey on the wall, who else is there?
That's a good question. That is, I think Max on there, Marcus Tubbs, Cam Thornton, Corey Redding, who's that? Marcus, who is that? Oh no, that's Nathan Vasher. Sorry, Nathan Vasher. Michael Ungar is on there. Nice. And Lee Jackson, I think so. I don't know why. It's such a random. I have no idea why they chose those players, but it seems like a random assortment of players to choose on there. I'm assuming that it was like basically our defense, but then Michael Ungar is on there, so I have no idea. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know why, but it's just some guys that ended up signing that poster. We put it up. So
I'm looking to see if Michael Ungar is still a strength and conditioning coach somewhere.
Man, I'm telling you, Ungar's
at LSU for a while.
Dude, he was so fast. I think he ran. I don't know if y'all remember his pro day. Dude, I want to say he ran his pro day like a low 4.4, a high 4.3 or something. Like he could move. He was a great gunner. Yeah, love me some Michael Ungar.
I think he became a strength and conditioning coach at LSU. He was an assistant for a little while. I don't know if he's still doing that. Lee Jackson is a high school coach now.
Yeah,
you mentioned that name. All right, we have a few more questions right now. The total raised is up to over $2,700 by this group of community. Thank you all so much, and hopefully the Central Texas Food Bank needs this money to help the first responders out there and the folks really affected by these floods in Central Texas. Thank you all so much. This entire show is dedicated to them, and every penny that we're making out of this is going to them. So. Please realize that we don't even see it in the bank account. It goes straight to Central Texas Food Bank. Matt Hutchison, our producer, made sure of that for us. Rod, here's a question for you from Carlos. When you were playing at UT, what player talked the most trash, and which player on offense did all of y'all hate to tackle on defense? He talked the most trash.
Oh, talking the most trash. That is good. It was probably.
Can I take a guess?
Go ahead. Guess.
Roy Williams.
It was a wide receiver.
Oh, BJ.
Yeah. BJ talked a lot of trash. He would come like even on the sideline, like he'd be talking trash. He talked a lot of trash. And who was? And then aside from him, it was mostly just DBs. I mean, between myself and Nathan Vasher and even Quentin Jammer back in the day, like we talked a lot of trash. That secondary was a big time trash talking secondary.
Who's the biggest trash talker that you played against?
That is good.
outside the team.
Honestly, the one who talked the most all throughout the game, it was probably Bethel Johnson. He talked a lot. A&M wide receiver, second round pick for the Patriots. He talked a lot. He just talked. He was talking to himself. Like, he wasn't even talking to me. Like, he just be talking. like, well, who are you talking to out here? He wasn't even talking trash to me all the time. And player on offense that y'all hate to tackle on defense. I mean, honestly, because we didn't do a ton of tackling during the season. Most of that happened training camp, spring ball. I mean, it had to be Said B. I mean, Said B had a lean that he would just. I don't think I ever saw Said B get knocked backwards, honestly. I'm sure it happened.
Yeah, Mike Williams.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. But it might have been said in terms of toughest to tackle. Said B was tough to tackle because you knew he was leaning.
And he would square you up.
He was square, and he got low. He would get a low lean.
I mean, when he knew he needed to lower, he would lower.
He would. Oh, you know what also was tough? Remember Ivan Williams back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Remember Ivan Williams?
Oh, yeah.
Ivan Williams was a load, man.
Yeah.
He was a load.
Hey, Rod, I got a question. Does that mean you played against him necessarily or matched up with him? Who's the best player you saw on tape when you were at Texas? Not on your team. Just was there somebody you played against you were like, that guy's different than everybody else?
That is good. Just elite player on tape. Yeah, that's a good question. Trying to think. We played a couple of high level wide receivers, like elite wide receivers who were first round picks that I thought were pretty impressive. Williams from Washington was a good player. He was really tough to stop. He was like
Reggie Williams.
He was like 6'4", 6'5". He was huge. Wide receivers were so much. They were just huge back then. That was like that was the trend. He was an impressive player for a guy that big to move the way he did. Man, Oklahoma had a couple of guys that just moved different back then at wide receiver too. That's a good question though about the film. Who stood out on film? That's a little tougher.
You made an interception on Roshan Woods, and I think he was a first rounder, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Roshan Woods. He was. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember for you, Rod. I got you.
Roshan was he was a good player. Good player.
Yeah. Here we go. Craig Johnson, what incentives do these recruits have when some schools throw enormous amounts at these high school kids? Some pros don't even have that incentive when they get paid. Truth. I mean, Quentin Ewers would have made more money coming back for another year of college football than going 7th round in the NFL. I mean, Jerry's already talked about it in basketball right now.
No.
College basketball is going to have a litany of international players on the floor this year because they are taking from some of the semi-pro rosters over there where kids were making $150,000 a year. They come to the States now. NIL is going to be spent a little bit more. Yeah. And it's going to, so yes, it's not just football. It's a lot of sports that are like that. Basketball is going to be a huge difference this year, I think.
Yeah.
Jerry, anything or Rod, y'all want to add?
No, I mean, look, the fascinating thing to me with all this is what is Deloitte going to do?
What are they going to pass and not pass and not
pass? Because look, I mean, we all think Brock Bowers. It doesn't matter where guys go. I'm going to tell you if I love a kid as a prospect or not. I think Brock Bowers is a 5-star prospect. Is 3 years and $7 million? Is that really his NIL value? It's probably not. So even though he's a great prospect, what is Deloitte? Is Deloitte going to let that roll? I don't know. That's the most interesting thing to me is what is Deloitte? How many? What are they going to kick out, and what are they not going to kick out in this process?
Here's a great follow up to that for you, Rod. Do y'all think, and from Tennessee Longhorn, do y'all think being at a disadvantage could push Sark to NFL like it made Saban retire? So Texas is not at a disadvantage. I want to be clear about that. They just aren't at an extreme advantage.
Yeah. By the way, I said Brock Bowers. I meant Mark Bowman. Sorry.
Yeah. I knew that. But do you think that could expedite Sark's departure, Rod?
I don't. I think Sark wants. I think if he wins a national title at Texas, then you can start worrying about that kind of stuff. I think he's so obsessed with finishing the mission and winning a national title, and he's so close to it too, that I don't think he leaves Texas until he wins one. Now, I've said he's going to win two. He wants to win two, and then he's going to go to the league. I've said that before. I said if he wins two, he's gone. He's too infatuated with the NFL and always has been. But to your point, maybe it's one, and the landscape of college sports starts changing way too much, and he's like, you know what? I'm an NFL guy. I've kind of always been an NFL guy. My mentors have been NFL guys. I'm going to the league. So I agree with you. He's going to win a national championship first before he leaves, though. Or I think that's his goal. If he never wins one, then I think we're all going to be shocked if he doesn't, because he's so close to it right now.
All right, a couple more questions here as we finish up this tonight's Talking Ball episode. Brought to you by Dr. Brett Robin of the Austin Orthopedic Institute. We're raising money for the Central Texas Food Bank. We've raised $2,879. Congrats. Hats off to each and every one of you that contributed tonight. Glad this is going to a great cause. Makes me feel really good that we're doing something as a community for those in need. Eric Hitz asked this question, guys. Why did Texas agree to these house settlement rules? Texas has more leverage than any other party involved, I'd think. House settlement was negotiated by folks that Texas had some party to, but not necessarily dominion over. So the house settlement, it got passed by Texas, but I don't think that it's that way. I mean, it was entered into on behalf of the NCAA, of which Texas is one of 325 members.
Can I add another piece to this? It wasn't sustainable for a decade or 15 years without. There's no chance it was going to be sustainable. And I think part of this was, hey, for the schools before house settlement, hey, guys, jump in, through our collectives now, because we're going to get to this point with the house settlement, whenever that is, and it's not something that's going to have to be done over a 10 or 15, 20-year period. It wasn't sustainable for the long haul. Bobby, don't you agree with that? I mean, I don't see any way that was truly sustainable.
I don't think it was. Look, they were already donors were already tiring, and then when they took away the ability for it to be deductible, tax deductible, that was another hit to the pocketbook. But I don't know that it was sustainable long term either, Jerry, and nor would you want it to be.
No,
I mean, I think that the money is now coming from the people it should come from, the universities, right? The question I have is that the right amount, or should that be tiered based on your own revenue? I mean, frankly, if Texas has the same revenue share at $330 million in revenue as a team that has $55 million in revenue. Same rev share cap. Is that right? I don't know. I mean, I think I could be wrong. I think Google's CEO makes more than Bobby Burton at On Texas. There's levels, right? And that's what I'm saying in that regard.
I agree with that.
So, all right. We'll keep going here. Got a couple more thoughts and questions that I wanted to get to. Champ Bailey says, Jerry, Bobby Jerry, other than Texas, what other school has impressed you with their 26 recruiting class? A&M, Notre Dame, Bama. Notre Dame and Bama for sure.
I like Notre Dame's a lot, actually.
I like Bama's a lot.
Look, the thing I like about Notre Dame is, well, how many NFL offensive linemen do they have? Have they had? Do you think anybody raise your hand if you think Notre Dame has 4 3-star offensive linemen committed when they can go pick around the Northeast and the northern part of the, no chance, right? They have a strong offensive line. And like the Grayson McHugh kid who Kyle Flood offered in May that's committed to Notre Dame. Some people have a 3-star. He ain't any more of a 3-star than Cam Williams was as a 3-star. That dude is a player. And he will be an NFL player on the offensive line, in my opinion, if he stays healthy. And he's not the only one. I really like Notre Dame's class. I think they have – I mean, they've won Rodney Dunham, the edge out of Myers Park in Charlotte, tremendous player. The safeties are really good in that class. Aiden Pouncey at Winter Park and Joey O'Brien out of Pennsylvania. Their safeties are really good. The Adams, the corner out of Maryland, is really good. One of the best in the country. They've looked good at tight end. Javian Osborne. You guys know I love Javian Osborne. Don't care where these guys go to school. Jonas Walton, the running back from Carrollton's really good too. They got 2 backs. Caden Finley and Bubba Frazier, the kid out of Savannah, can absolutely fly at wide receiver. I really like what they've done. Thomas Davis Jr., the linebacker, obviously Thomas Davis's kid out of Charlotte. I think Notre Dame has a bang-up class, guys. I really do.
I like Alabama's. I think they have five stars right now committed. I think they're the only one that have more than 2 at this point. Todd Lacey, what's the latest on Jordan Washington? He was injured. Seems to be a forgotten man in the T rotation. No, he's not forgotten. I will give you a little nugget here that I actually learned today that I was saving a little bit of it for tomorrow. Jordan Washington's fine. He and Spencer Shannon are kind of duking it out for second team tight end. The early line is that Jack Indries, the young man from Cal, is extraordinarily good at University of Texas.
Oh yeah.
So just telling you, I heard that today from someone that Indries is probably a little bit better even than what maybe some have thought. And Pro Football Focus, remember, had him as the 2nd or 3rd best tight end returning in America. Apparently he looks like it from the folks on campus. Longhorns, this will be the last one for tonight, guys. Does Texas have to find more NIL before the end of the year to sign a top 5 class? Does Texas have to find more NIL before the end of the year to sign a top 5 class? Jerry?
Yes.
I agree.
Simple.
I agree.
That's a simple one.
Yeah. It can't if it goes like this, you're just not going to get to 25 at the level you want to get to. You're not going to get to 25 commitments. But I will say this, I mean, minute some people start going pro, that may open up, weren't necessarily expected to. That may open up some money late in the game for Texas as well. Don't forget.
And by the way, I do expect Texas to sign another top 5 level class. Now that could be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, those are decimal points, and one could have 2 more commitments in the other class. I do expect Texas to sign their 5th straight top 5 level class, whether that's ranked 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever it is. I think they're going to be right there.
Okay. Matt, I'm talking to Matt behind the scenes. Did I miss anybody's super chat or anything like that I needed to get? Nope, I did not. Okay. Let me read this list. We're finishing up tonight's episode. Fundraiser for Central Texas Food Bank, $2,879. Thank you all so much. The current list of donations, I'm just going to read these by quickly. Thank you all so much. No matter how little or how much, it all counts. Christopher Galloway, Chris Bennett, Miracle Martinez, Matthew, Joshy Manning, Christine Anderson, Carlos Carrion, Jenny Burton. There we go. Honey Badger, 1000 Scully, Boone Naren, Rod Babers, Longhorns, Justin Yarbrough, Jason Airy, Roadrunner 2011, Eric Andrews, there goes that man, Matty M, Mario G. Adame, Texas Chick 01, Daryl Azar, Abe, William Niche, and then almost a 1,500 in anonymous donations.
God bless you guys.
Yeah, good stuff, guys. Proud to be proud to do anything I can in this regard, because the stories are they're heartbreaking, man. Heartbreaking. All right. That's going to do it for tonight's Talking Ball episode. Thanks again to Rod Babers and Jerry Hamilton, as well as our producer, Matt Hutchison. Thanks to Dr. Brett Robin for sponsoring Monday night's episode of Talking Ball. And thanks to all of you for joining us. We'll see you early tomorrow morning on Coffee and Football. Hook 'em horns, and God bless everybody out there in Central Texas right now.